and gentlemen, welcome back to the second part of this beautiful interview with Susa's legends. I mean, of course, legends in the game. We talked about Samanya, Nelson, and the manager was called
Hajat.
Hajat
Mwajuma.
Mwajuma. Confuses me.
Yeah.
Actually, no, my is related to Mwajuma, right?
Correct, yeah.
Those two names confuse me. You're still describing Mwajuma, Madame Mwajuma, I'm sorry. You're still talking about her and you never finished. Please finish.
I think we're just talking about the fond moments we had with Hajat Mwaju. Yeah. She had this thing of getting the best players into a particular house. We always laugh about it.
Yeah.
You know how high schools have like sports day and different houses are going against each other. I kid you not, I don't remember when Pink West ever lost anything. That was her house. Yeah. First of all, she manages basketball, so you see how all that management skill comes into play. Then when Pink West we're playing, whether it's basketball, volleyball, netball, my friend, she had a knack of, she knew which people, like in S1 when they're kind of orienting you, you know, they assign you a house upon arrival. Yeah. So she would do this thing and she would look at you and be like, oh, this one looks very athletic.
Pink West.
Pink West. Then ask the outliers, oh, I'm not so sure about this one, Yellow West.
Bruh, they put me in Yellow East. Yellow East was the house that you put in everyone who falls sick. You know?
Oh my God.
Well, because it was the cleanest one. It was the cleanest house. Yeah. Everyone is like soft and da-da-da. They put me in Yellow East.
Nice. So not you though, like you're very bubbly.
Yeah, they found it out 2 years later. I was in Yellow East though.
So like,
it was good.
What are some of the challenges you guys face when you're playing basketball in Nabisunsa? Because you're student athletes, what are the challenges you face?
I think there was, for me, I believe I may speak for both of us on this, there was pressure to deliver on both ends. Being a student athlete at that time, I even think now is not easy. So in school, you have to make sure you get a certain level of grades because from high school, S1, S4, you're doing Cantab, S6, you have to get 25 points and things like that. So you have to deliver at that level. So class and, you know, the discussions, being there for the group discussion sometimes was hard, but you had to find a way. So that was challenging, no lie. Then delivering on court, my goodness, I think Emmy was one of those coaches you do not disappoint. If he says we are going to win, we are going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Emmy would really push us and train, like the way we trained, I don't recall ever training like that my entire life. But every time we went for a tournament, we started winning, so we had to maintain that winning streak. So everywhere you go, you're carrying the on your shoulder the emblem for Nabisunsa, what people think of us, what they should think about the basketball team. Yeah. And most of the time people look down to like female players. And all of us came in different shapes and sizes. Yeah. Like Mariam, you see her, for me, I'm very skinny. You have no expectation of us. So sometimes the challenge was to constantly prove yourself every day you show up. Yeah, so just for me, that would be one of the things. You?
Yeah, proving myself 100%. I mean, I just talked about how I began training S1 day one, and I joined the team in S3. So you know, so you had I know guys, I know.
It's like brewing wine by alcohol.
So no, but you had to prove yourself. Yeah. I mean, two sides of the coin. I mean, one of my biggest challenges was time, but in hindsight, it teaches you how to manage your time. You know, because when class ends at 4:30. And then you have to like run to dorm and then get changed, then run all the way back just to train. And then say something happens, training, and then Emmy or Nelson, God forbid, have to talk and give you a very long speech. You have like 10 minutes to run all the way back to dorm and shower and eat something and then run all the way to prep before it was closed. Bro, that was tough, like in hindsight. And even delivery, because you had to miss, when we played the league, by then, so sometimes the women's games on Fridays. So now since I would go play on Fridays, so Friday afternoon you're out of school because you've gone for a tournament.
And you're missing classes.
Exactly. So it's now catch up time for whatever classes you missed or exams. Or we did under 18 when we were doing mocks. I will never forget.
Yes.
I will never forget S6 mocks.
Yeah.
I did my mock for general paper. As soon as I walked out, I walked into the bus to go for under 18 training. So it was just that balance of being an athlete and being a student. But again, in hindsight, because you know you don't have time, you prioritize the time to like studying and not chit chat. So for me, I feel like I missed out on
A lot of high
whatever
school
fun things
yeah.
kids were doing in school, because I was either not around for tournaments, or I was on coach training.
Actually, people
that was
used
it.
to say basketballers, they used to look at us like a special clique, like we're
Yeah.
in and out, we're like
Yeah.
that untouchable clique that you just see them from afar.
Yeah.
But the truth is, we always wanted to be involved. You know, when you're a kid,
Yeah.
if this is happening in school,
You
I
want
was
to
never
be
part of any clubs because there was no
Yeah.
time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We were out almost every weekend.
every weekend.
Every
So I think we
weekend,
missed
yeah.
out on those debate clubs and things like that.
That's
We
being
missed
a
out on
child
those
in
parties that
school.
were happening.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes people are having late nights. We're going to go have a movie night. For us, it's you have to sleep early. There's a whole tournament tomorrow.
or you didn't do your homework because you were out. Now you have, that's the only time you have to go do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But even, it was even things like, so we used to have assembly, and assembly they read the top people, so you read the bottom people.
Mama.
You know, again, more accountability, because you don't want to be read. So in basketball, Nabisunsa won, and the MVP was Kyamazima. Okay, now for lateness this week, a person who missed all the preps, Kyamazima, you didn't want to appear on both sides,
Yeah.
you know. So the pressure to actually be a student.
Yeah. I mean,
was
run
different.
us through the tournaments you guys won, which was the most memorable. Tell us about those incidents that you will never like forget. Sprite, Nationals, any. Tell us about any.
Right. You know, I can't remember my most memorable ones. But let me suggest you what happened. So when we were playing basketball, I remember seeing people always come back with medals. And I was like, one day I still want a medal. Then I got my first medal. I even took it home, put it up. Got my second. Then we got to number 5. And they just kept coming. They just kept coming. And then all tournaments were the same. You know, certificates became certificates. So I can't think about which tournament. The tournaments that I think about most are Nationals and Eastern Central.
Yeah.
Because we had specific rivals.
Yeah.
Okay, Crane High, Manjasi, at some point
Shivuli.
Tende was coming, Shivuli. With
was-
Momo,
yeah.
Yeah,
Amoding.
of course.
Oh my God.
The general.
Fam,
course.
you know, people made you work. People made you work. So, like a specific tournament. There's a tournament we once did. It was Nationals. I think one of our last ones. There's a school that's there up in the. We had a Kasozi.
I know it.
What school? Oh, it was in the west. One of those schools that hosted. I think they had like many courts.
Yeah.
And
They
I
have a swimming
remember
pool as well. I remember that school.
the food was hard to eat, but I also remember you would go down to play basketball, and mind the food, the
school
fog
is
is
that
still
in the
there. The fog was
Wait.
one of those girls' schools.
Girls' school.
No, it was
One of
yeah.
those girls'
Because
schools.
as a secondary school hosts, the one I'm
Yeah.
still can decide to host. I remember that school. I just forget the name. Just slips my
In
mind.
the West, Buranyanji girls.
I don't remember one of those schools like that. Why I remember it, we were sleeping. Then they told us, Nabisunsa, your game is on court now.
Oh God.
It was 8 a.m. It was 7. It's cold outside. The fog is still out.
We can't
And we
see.
came. You know how they did first 5 that day? Amy was like, whoever is on court first, just run.
That's
Oh,
the
even
one we're
almost began
starting.
4 players. And the other team, they were the hosts. They have warmed up. They have,
Wait.
you know. Actually, I remember that tournament. We came down, whoever ran, just ran on court. You come, you just run on court. You come, you just run on court. But it was a fun tournament. I think we ended up, we blew that score at 80
Now the
It was
thing
a
is,
fun one though.
I feel like I think this is even why they pushed us out of those nationals and put us in the league because the competition was
That's crazy.
was not even
Wasn't
there
even,
anymore.
yeah.
Because this is a team whereby people have just woken up. The other team has prepped. They're in their jerseys. They've had their conversation. They're warming up. For you, you're just putting on shoes as you run down. yeah. And then you get there and you still whoop the team.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things whereby
But you used to whoop teams by how, like, squad.
100. Emmy would give us a target. It was never about you just going to win.
Because at
He would tell
most-
you,
that tournament.
Never
I want 120. Figure it out.
That most,
My
I remember,
friend.
I remember that school, the most we had, at least every team we beat. Even in finals we played Chibuli. We beat them by over 50, 60 points.
Was
That
Momo in that
tournament.
team?
Yes, she was. She got MVP.
Mama,
She got
she was the bad guy that side. She's the one we had to watch out for.
She was
Yeah,
the
she got
opposite.
MVP, that tournament.
She was the rebel there.
Yeah, she was the one
yeah,
you look
she made
out
us
for.
work.
But of course, she was also our friend. I think that's why we gravitated to her because she was also really good. She was never in Nabisunsa, but I mean, her skill
was
really
part
spoke
of
for
us.
herself. So
Yeah.
she was really part of us. But I think for me, the thing I remember about those tournaments was Amy would give you a number. He doesn't care who you're playing. He would come and say, okay, in this team. And what I liked about him is that you would sit down, you analyze the teams, you watch them play,
Yes,
and then he
yeah.
would say, this is their strongest player. So he helps you
Yeah.
understand the back end of the game.
Yeah.
And then when the game is starting, he will tell you, we're going for 100 points. He doesn't care which team it is. We are going for 100 points. And I kid you not, there are moments where we won and we were shy of 100 and we had to drop down and give him like 50 push-ups.
Yeah. That man once called a timeout for us to do push-ups. And then after doing them, he's like, now go back on court.
You can imagine what other people are doing when they are looking at you like that. So it's like we've won. People are thinking you should be celebrating. We are there on our knees. 1, 2, up to 100. Then he'll say, fine, now we can celebrate. Now there's that one time I don't know what Charlene did. She was the big man. Someone scored on her and she didn't box out. The game was still ongoing. You know how high school games, it's not stopping time.
Yeah.
He just said, drop down and give me 10.
During the game?
Emmy was like an army commander. Drop down, give me 10. The rest of us are running to stop whoever is scoring. Emmy has told her, drop. Charlene dropped, started push-ups. The ref is looking at her. Players outside, you know high school kids, all the rage, making noise, like, what the hell? You guys are just showing off, like, what? Charlene is dropping 1, 2, and he's counting for you. The crowd even said counting for her at some point. 1, 2. And meanwhile, Emmy is telling her, the girl there, your big man better not score. So you drop, then you start sprinting to play defense. So I think he instilled that kind of physical discipline in us, that there are times we would go for games and we're just chill.
Yeah.
You're not really playing, but like, if they're playing music in the background, your head is probably bobbing while you're on court and you're still trying to play. And I don't think other teams liked that because it's like we were showing off.
Of course.
No, but we knew our mission though. We knew our mission. You know, we came there, we knew our mission. But I think that's because of that. You know, we were lucky that as a cohort, we all played together from early on. Yeah. So by the time we reached S4, S5, S6, we had something strong going on. So because of that, East and Central became the competitive tournaments.
I think the Kenyans are the ones who gave us a good run for our money. Because our chemistry was so strong, you guys. Like, Mariam always knew which side of the court I was going to be at. For some funny reason.
I always knew where
I remember under 18, when we were here playing in Lugogo, there's a time the scores were really bad.
That's the game. That's the game. That's the game.
You know, with the way I look, Sudanese think I am part of them. Rwandese think I am part of them. So there I am running down the court, my skinny self. And these Rwandese boys are saying, yeah. They start speaking to me in Rwandese. I just nod my head. So that time, the scores were so bad. Like, the time was running out. I don't remember what the scores were, but they were tight. We were down
against Kenya.
Yeah. And Kenya had always beaten Uganda. 100%. I think Hamza had always spoken about this thing, but you guys, what, we have to do this. And we thought everything we did to bring us to this point, we have to like break this curse. Yeah. For some reason, and like that's the thing we're talking about intangible results you bring on court. That's the thing that Mariam brings. She will always create a space. Like you may not see her in the stats of like 15 points and whatnot. Yeah. Yes, she can score, she can dribble, but she always created. So that time I remember there's a way Charlene would come at the center, they would clog her. For some reason, I would always run out to the side.
Baseline.
Mariam would take a
lethal baseline shot. Yeah,
I know, right?
I remember that.
Mariam would always take a drive through the center, collect everyone, just dish. Easy too. And that is how we came back into the game.
Easy buckets.
Yeah, so like for me, it's that chemistry that started for 6 years actually.
Yeah,
so right now I think it's hard to find.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go off script a little bit. Usually, in this current life of ours, even back then, guys usually fall for stars. You understand?
Yeah.
And you girls were stars. You're from a single school. How challenging was it to deal with boys back then? Because I know they were all over you guys.
First of all, boys were not on our radar. The way we were trained, you're here to do what?
No, but there were instances where they used to come around.
No, let me tell you a story. There's this one time we went to Dar es Salaam. Then there's this guy who played for a Kenyan team. I didn't know him. He was some tall, big figure. And for some reason, he was eyeing me, but me, I didn't know. You know, when you're a kid, your mind is somewhere else. So as they are getting my food, we sit with Samanya. You know, when we were walking to go to the dormitories, Samanya came, followed me. Because he had seen the guy. The moment the guy showed up and said, hi, Samanya was there to break it up.
Hi, who?
Bye.
Are you serious?
I kid you not. It's like no one is going to talk to my girls. We're here on a mission. So for you to talk to us, you would literally have to go through the coach. Okay. Befriend the coach, figure it out. Even if you want to talk to Mariam, even if you're friends from where, you guys, that shit was intimidating.
You know,
so somebody took care of you guys.
100%. He would protect us like his daughters. He had this thing where at tournaments, you always had to buddy up. I would not go off myself, walk by myself, If I'm going somewhere, I'm with Didi, I'm with Charlene, I'm with Angela, I'm with somebody. You always buddied up. And he had this rule. If a boy wants to come and talk to you, he comes and talks to you in front of the whole team.
So, has the
He was like, stay focused. Also now if you go there, and also again, like I was saying earlier, if you're sitting and you're watching games and the other boy is there, we had boys who would like come through and, but you come, you're talking to one of us, you're talking to everybody. No one is going off on the sides to do it, talk to you.
By the way, we were never confused by
So
boys.
we're very focused.
Also,
we're very focused.
we
I
had...
hope you don't just show you go.
No,
Seriously.
We had seen enough boys, by the way. We went to training with warriors.
Seriously?
We had seen
Those are
men.
men, those are
We
the
had
boys,
seen
those are
men.
My bad. We had seen men.
We
So
had seen men.
for us,
Yeah.
this was AOB. Well, what's up?
Also because we were Sunsas. Like at the point we're like older, right? We're like S5, S6.
Yeah.
You're Sunsas. You know, someone is going to just come and begin talking to you. Who are you?
First of
Like,
all,
who are
English,
you?
The English these people had. I remember talking to Charlene.
Which people are you talking about?
Charlene, Mariam. I'm going to name names and people are going to beat me after this podcast. People are coming and some of them are speaking like broken English of Uganda, and Mariam is like, excuse me, like what?
Like guys from which
hey.
schools? Guys from which schools?
I'm not
I
going
haven't
to
had
kill
those
myself
schools.
with those kind of schools.
Give me
Let me
details.
tell you, you would have to have audacity, because even me, if I was a guy, I would look up to these guys and say, "About where do I start?" Mariam is there speaking with her English. Yeah, sure, this, and then you're coming. And Amy would also look at you and say, "What are you saying?"
What's your level? What's your level?
Exactly.
But you know, the other thing too is, Nabisunsa had like brother schools.
Yeah.
Like at some point it was Chibuli. At some point it was Chambogo.
So you guys are
So
close to...
exactly, those were like our brothers.
Even
Yeah. So
Budo.
if we're
Brothers?
sitting,
Yes. Like those ones, they're allowed because
They're
like,
allowed by...
they had a pass. They had a free pass.
By Amy, yeah?
Yes. So Chibuli boys would come and sit, and because what would happen is we'd go for tournaments and share buses.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So I remember
Ah,
time we
that makes
then
sense then.
I remember once shared with Kabuja, and then those
Ah.
became our brothers for a point.
Yeah.
But the beef there was also because those boys used to show off those schools.
They're rich
You know?
kids.
So
They're
The
rich
Jimmy,
kids.
is that-
Meanwhile, my brothers were there. They studied with Jimmy
Yeah.
Mills here in Nabisunsa. So when they're saying these cool guys are coming in, I start saying, "Banana, how do I tell them I am related to these people?" So my brother, and you know we look alike. People used to say, "You guys
Yes.
are triplets."
Both of your brothers.
I'd
Yeah.
be saying, "No, we're not triplets." So every time we're there, like Jimmy would come and no, I think I never really talked so much with Jimmy, but I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they would come, they'd say, "Hi, what's up?" Then people would come and tell me, "You know that guy? You know that guy?"
And Iwan was a superstar. You know, he was their superstar.
Even
He had
Jimmy.
mad
Yeah,
handles.
the superstar in
He
high
had
school.
mad handles. Yeah.
I think it was Awel.
You remember
Jimmy.
Keith? Ashaba Keith?
Oh.
The big guy.
Yeah, the big guy. Yeah, he was their big guy.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, the honest truth is, I've talked to lots of people, I've hosted them on this podcast, I've shared like conversations with them. They say high school basketball is dead.
Oh.
Yeah, they say that it is dead compared to the past. I mean,
Of course.
you play a game of 5 minutes running time, before you know it, the game is down and the scores are... I mean, you're talking about beating teams by 50 points. Right now, I mean, you go for a high school game, the scores are 15 on 14. Full game, not first quarter, not first 5 minutes. What was the impact of high school basketball in your basketball careers?
Oh my God, I think it made us. Like our high school basketball is what made us to where we and put us where we are right now, playing in the league.
How competitive was it?
It's not about the competitiveness of it. It's like
The organization or something?
we had enough time to play and perfect our craft, if I should say.
100%. Yeah.
So we played with teams till we outgrew them, and then they threw us into the league, which was now we were not used to losing, and here we are in the league.
KCC
being
would beat us
whooped day in, day out.
120.
We're used to being the ones who are,
Yeah.
dispensing the punishment.
Yeah.
And I think they realized you no longer fit in the high school conundrum. Like you're always at the top, so they put us into the league. I remember as soon as I was paid.
So when they put you guys in the league, they kicked you guys out of high school competition?
No.
Not necessarily, they didn't. But you see, us going into the league means we brought something different into the high school basketball.
Yeah.
Like the way we were thinking, the way we were playing. For me, I think, I don't want to say high school basketball in general, but like high school for us is what made us to where we are right now. Like I would never be playing for A1, KCCA, things like that, never. Because what they taught us then is what really built us. So it's such a shame when you say high school basketball now is dead. A lot of things have changed over time.
Yeah.
Like for me, my stance. For me, I believe a coach can make or break a team.
Yeah.
I understand players are important, but among the
But
factors,
it's the truth. It's
yeah.
the truth. Yeah.
So for me, I
It's
think
the
the
main
kinds of
factor. That's why
coaches,
they have talked about Amy and Nelson.
yeah,
Yeah.
the coaches we had then made us.
Yeah.
that is why you see we were standing out. And it's not just us, it's the years before us, the years after us to some extent.
True.
When they were not available anymore, I think Sunsas also took a hit. You see the competition, they're no longer competing as the way they used to. And I feel like right now, basketball in high school, the competition is not as strong as you imagine. The right coaches are probably not there. Some teams have financial issues, so they don't even have basketball courts, some of them. So the expectancy of them to play at that level is also, it's kind of way too high.
True.
So when you say it's dead, it's just really a shame. Yeah.
You know, I don't know if it's alive or dead. I think even in our time, the truth is there weren't many schools that could compete, period. Like if it was not Chibuli or maybe Crane High, Chitende once upon a time had these 12 volleyball, netball players, and you know, they made us work. Otherwise, all the other schools were not competition. So I can't even look at that and say, like, even though teams was say Chitende, Chibuli, Crane High, it's not because they had good basics. It's because they had 1-2 good players. Crane High used to have this duo, Fofo and Larissa. Oh my God. You know, even and then Chibuli had Momo and Hatma. You know, so it's not like the schools were doing best, but they had 1 or 2 good players who would carry the team and then would have competition. For me, I just find that with the generation these days, we were lucky in our time we didn't have so much technology. So the only basketball you knew was on court because you went and you trained and you went for a league game and you saw, you know, Okias doing his thing and you came and you learned
Vinnie.
how to pivot. You know. But for kids these days, I feel like there is too much NBA watching, right? So kids are not putting in the time to go and learn the craft. Like Didi was saying, why high school molded us and made us is because you'd spend hours dribbling a ball. Then you'd go back to, you shoot like this, you know, so you'd learn the form. But also not many coaches did that. Like Emmy and Nelson were special. They were like, you know, so like looking at, I don't think much has changed, but I think kids these days watch too much NBA. Now they come and everyone wants to shoot 3-point shots like Steph Curry. Everyone wants to do like without learning the basics.
They want instant coffee.
But I don't think the competition has changed. Like, I mean, I haven't been here to know what schools are.
Did you please tell her?
What schools are. But the basics are, basics are basics. You can't cheat basics.
And I don't think most of them are being taught basics. That's the problem. Now, I don't want to dive into the current situation like of Nabisunsa, but like,
let's talk about it. Feel free. Who's the current coach of Nabisunsa? I don't think Evie and that's still in Nabisunsa. Who's the current coach of Nabisunsa? And does Nabisunsa still have that same ideology of basketball? Do they still love basketball like back then? I mean, you're in Uganda.
Did he tell us?
I like.
Tell us.
It's funny how everyone is pushing this towards me.
Meanwhile,
I'm no longer high school.
I mean, Mariam doesn't stay here. It's you around, so tell us about the current Nabisunsa.
I mean,
because according to what you've told me, I expect Nabisunsa to have taken a trophy somewhere.
For sure.
Trophy.
I think for me the expectation is the way I left Nabisunsa is what I expected it to stay at, that height. Which is a bit unrealistic, but that is how we left and expected it to continue like that. But once we left and a new batch of players came on, they also held the title of Nabisunsa. They held that standard really well. But over time, I think Emmy left.
He's in and out.
Yeah, so he's in and out.
Then
Nelson
is busy.
He's also, you know, life happens. Even us, as you see us, we used to be professional players, but we're retired. Life happens. So life also happens to them. And there's a lot of politics in management and all these things. Some of these things we can't really say out loud, we can't define, but they're playing a role in the background. And of course, our school has taken a hit. Nabisunsa is not the Nabisunsa. I think it still has a high level of respect in its title.
The legacy
is still there, but it's not as strong as we imagine. Because I think there's a time when we had gone for a tournament and we lost, and we had to rally all the old girls. Let's go, kind of like,
talk to them,
talk to the young girls and remind them of who they are. Like, this is Nabisunsa. We don't just lose. Like at that point, I think for us, even when we were growing up, it's not about your fear. Like, oh, I fear. For me, I used to fear being on court. But it's not about you. It's about the legacy you're holding. Because it's like, Daisy would even look at you and say, how do you lose to such a team? So you're thinking, you know? So it's about, I'm holding the mantle for Nabisunsa. So we played through that. We pushed through. Right now, where high school basketball is, for me, I think all those factors coming into play, generally, just all round within the country, it's not the best.
Yeah.
It's not the
Because
best.
you talked about most of you being on the U18 team during your time.
Yeah.
But I think I watched the U18 play, and I think there was only one Nabisunsa girl on that team.
Wow.
Let me tell you, basketball, management plays a huge role. Like we were saying earlier, we could not have done what we did if we didn't have management support.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't go and the headmistress was saying something, or Hajat was saying something, or the coaches, thankfully at that point they still had some time. So that's like a huge role. I mean, the old girls do go back and they try to talk to the girls. And we're also lucky because we had people to look up to.
Yeah.
We had, now I don't know how many people, because when we left, we were around 6 or 7 really good players. And we left at once.
Yeah,
That
it was a whole team actually.
was a big club.
Exactly. And then now the next team had maybe 2 players. Then the next one had maybe 1 player. Now, the little ones, who are they looking up to?
Yeah.
So that too plays a factor.
Who are some of those players that really motivated you guys when you're Nabisunsa, the senior players?
Mariam comes straight up.
Of
She's like way
course.
high up there.
That one's the goat. I
Yep.
don't think you can talk about
Yep.
Nabisusa and Miss Mariam.
You can't. Yep. Tamale Linda. Talin was
Daisy.
Daisy.
Daisy was that big
Okorete.
man with
Yeah.
swag.
Yeah.
She played in the league.
I don't know. Well, she finished before us, but she was in Nabisunsa.
Yeah.
So we looked up to her.
Yeah.
I think when she left, I'm not so sure if she played in the league or not, but I think she did quite briefly.
Yeah.
But Daisy was one of those players who we also looked up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Hatma Kasim
How can we forget?
was special. She was
Up to
like-
now, Hatma is still special. Hatma comes out of retirement to play, I don't know, pick up, and it's like, oh my
She's
God.
schooling guys.
let me tell you, the one thing basketball at Nabisunsa would remind you is the people who played basketball at Nabisunsa, they played it for the heart and they played it for each other.
Yeah.
So this is why you find that most of them till today still play. They'll like come out of retirement and they'll play and they'll bounce that ball and they'll run. It was more than basketball. It was like a whole sisterhood. It was family.
Tell me about some of those rivalries with these schools you guys played with. I know there's rivalry between you and Shibuli, then that Kenyan team you talked about. Tell me some of those rivalries.
With Chibuli, it's love. It's love-hate relationship.
Yeah,
There's
tell me
no
about some of
rivalry.
them.
You make us work, we don't like you until the game ends. When
We'll
the game
shake your
ends,
hand
we are
after.
friends.
Yeah, we'll shake your hand.
When the game ends, we are friends.
But during the game, no friendship.
yeah.
Because like your coach has sent you on a mission. Like we
Yeah.
told you, you don't deliver drop down game. You start doing, what's that thing? Running from
Suicide.
on court while the game is going on. Who wants that embarrassment? So everyone for us, I don't think Nabisunsa had like a nemesis, an arch nemesis or an arch rival. Like
Stende.
okay, maybe.
So wait, stop hiding. Tell us.
Okay, Mariam, tell us about
No, let me tell you. Let me tell you why. Because most teams that would compete with, it's because they had 1-2 players, right? Chibuli had Momo, and I think had
Momo
had.
only.
I don't remember who did Momo play. Did Hatma play with Momo? I don't remember.
Hatma
I don't think
Momo.
I don't think Hatma came back for like A-level.
I don't remember who. Like
No, it was Sarah Kaya.
Oh,
That's who it
God.
was. There was this player called Sarah Kaya.
Yes.
Good Lord. She left Nabisunsa, went to Chibuli.
But you see how they took from us.
So you'd have 2 players to worry about. But if they didn't show up, you're good.
Good to go.
Crane High had, I mentioned Popo and Larissa. But Chitende.
Larissa, they run this chip.
Yes.
Yeah, you saw them even in the league.
Yeah, of
That
course.
girl disorganized us.
Kia, you right? And
Man.
A1.
No, I liked the challenge because it took us away from just chilling to, oh my God, now we
have
really
to
have to work for this.
Yep,
Yeah.
it was a good surprise. And then the reason why I said Chitende did not have a specific player.
Yeah.
Chitende, they're either all out boxing you out, or out rebounding you, or out shooting you, or out doing something. So you had to approach that together.
Yeah.
And the fact that we didn't even know, I didn't know any of the girls' names, it was a rivalry. It means I didn't even care who you were. I knew I was coming to fight.
Oh
or we
my
are fighting.
Mariam,
Then Manjasi had that. Remember the girl who used to do the running shot? It's a girl who would like, the girl,
I
who used to
hated
be
those
dribbling.
things where I
And
can't
she just
even
shoots.
stop you.
Um,
I'm there sliding. Next thing I know,
It's a
she's
basket.
doing, and
I'm like,
coach
what?
is like, Didi, you start your push-ups. Like the girl I don't know. I don't know how to explain. But Mariam, I know we had, I think, okay, to answer your question, I think the rivalry we had was with Chitende. Because if it was ever finals, we are meeting each other and it's a clash.
and it could go either way.
Yeah.
It could go either way for a
So
while.
they're really good. Huh?
Yeah.
questionable.
Okay, I think we've come to the end of part 2. We're going to take a very brief break, then we come back for the last segment.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get back. Let's see you in a little while.
All right.